Over the past few years, the Toronto Transit Commission, or TTC, has faced a noticeable decline in service reliability. As a lifelong transit enthusiast and commuter, I've witnessed this deterioration firsthand, and it's frustrating. The reasons for these disruptions are complex, ranging from underfunding to infrastructure challenges, but the effects on commuters are undeniable. In this deep dive, I'll outline the causes, the impacts on Toronto's residents, and what needs to change to get the TTC back on track. The TTC has historically been a lifeline for Toronto, moving over 1.69 million riders daily in pre-pandemic times. However, the service has increasingly fallen short of expectations. From subway delays and overcrowding to unreliable buses and streetcars, disruptions have become a hallmark of commuting in the city. The Line 1 Yonge University and Line 2 Bloor Danforth subways frequently experience delays due to signal failures, medical emergencies, and track maintenance issues. For example, outdated signaling on Line 2, which still relies on 60-year-old analog technology, has led to frequent train slowdowns. While Line 1 has been upgraded to an automated train control system, implementing this across the network is progressing far too slowly. Bus service cuts compounded by road congestion and vehicle shortages have resulted in longer wait times and more crowded buses. Streetcars on major routes like King, Queen, and Dundas are plagued by traffic congestion and frequent short turns where vehicles don't complete their route. The TTC has starved for funding for decades. Operating subsidies per rider in Toronto are among the lowest in North America, sitting around $1.07 compared to $2.50 in New York and $5.30 in Montreal. Budget cuts during the pandemic, combined with reduced ridership, have left the TTC scrambling to maintain service levels. For example, service on over 40 routes was reduced in 2023 due to budget constraints. Toronto's subway system was built in the 1950s and still relies heavily on infrastructure from that era. Track repairs and tunnel leaks frequently disrupt service, as seen with the constant delays between Eglinton and Finch on Line 1. The provincial government under Doug Ford has focused heavily on flashy new transit projects, like the Ontario Line, while neglecting funding for existing systems. While expansion is important, it feels like Ford is chasing headlines instead of addressing the immediate needs of millions of daily riders. The fleet of buses and streetcars faces maintenance backlogs due to budget shortfalls and supply chain issues. Additionally, the aging T1 subway trains used on Line 2 are increasingly prone to breakdowns. These disruptions have a ripple effect on Toronto's residents and the city's economy. Let me paint a picture. For many, commutes have ballooned by 30 minutes or more due to delays and overcrowding. For hourly wage workers, this can mean arriving late to work and facing penalties, or losing income altogether. Reduced service frequency has led to packed subway cars and buses, making the experience uncomfortable and unsafe, especially during the colder months. When people can't rely on transit, they turn to cars. This shift exacerbates traffic congestion and greenhouse gas emissions, undermining Toronto's climate goals. Businesses suffer when employees and customers can't reliably reach them. For a city that prides itself on being a global financial hub, unreliable transit is a black mark on its reputation. Here's where we get to the solutions, and yes, they're achievable with the right leadership and funding. Toronto must demand more operating subsidies from the provincial and federal governments. With Doug Ford's focus on highway expansions, for example like the Highway 413, transit advocates need to push for reallocating some of that funding to transit operations. Accelerating the rollout of ATC on Line 2 should be a priority. The TTC has been dragging its feet on this for years. Upgrading streetcar infrastructure, like implementing more dedicated right-of-ways, will reduce delays and improve reliability. The King Street Transit Priority Corridor is a proven success and should be replicated on Queen and Dundas. The TTC needs a clear plan to replace aging T1 subway trains and increase its fleet of buses and streetcars. Funding delays for these replacements are unacceptable and short-sighted. Hiring more transit enforcement officers and social workers would also address safety concerns. Pair this with better station design, lighting, and CCTV coverage. Instead of cutting routes, the TTC should explore innovative funding options, like road tolls or congestion charges, to subsidize transit service. London and Stockholm have successfully used such measures to boost transit funding. Riders need real-time, transparent updates when disruptions occur. The current communication efforts, while improved, still fall short of adequately informing riders. It's no exaggeration to say that the TTC is the backbone of Toronto. When it doesn't work, the entire city suffers. The provincial government's obsession with new projects like the Ontario Line, while ignoring the current system's deterioration, is maddening. Expanding transit is critical, but what's the point if people can't rely on the existing network? Doug Ford's policies, like shifting all the attention to the new projects that are currently underway, has shifted attention away from basic maintenance and operations. This neglect is a slap in the face to the millions of riders who depend on the TTC daily. The bottom line is this: Toronto needs to stop treating transit as an afterthought. If the city wants to thrive, it must make the TTC a priority. This means funding, modernization, and above all, listening to the people who use the system. I want to live in a city where taking transit is a convenience, not a gamble. Right now, we're far from that. I hope that you liked the video. If so, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed and want to be notified of new videos that are released, please click on the Art Toronto button here. This is the video that I would recommend for you to watch next, and I'm sure that you're going to love it. Here's the playlist for all of the latest in transit news and views that you're going to find very informative and interesting. And finally, here is the latest video. Thanks for watching and happy transiting.